Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTKDB. We are having the reading show today, so it's everything psychic and numerology. And when we get into the readings, you just pop down your numbers, you ask for a reading, and we have some fun within that. And away we go. We might pull some cards. You know the drill. We always talk about a topic of the day. If you have any questions too, I take those questions with your own spiritual development, and that's how we do it. Hello, Steve. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is so hot today, and it's been hot all week, but everywhere's different around the world. Yeah, it's burning up around here. Getting my air conditioning fixed, so I've been feeling it. It's so funny. It's like 90 degrees around here. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's actually not that bad. It really isn't. Where I live, it is a little bit cooler than average. So I'm blessed. I really am blessed. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Paula. What I wanted to talk with the topic of the day would be the energy of, it's kind of like a mixture of opposites and simplicities. And I think when we talk about opposites in the most simplistic terms, we can really appreciate what opposites are and appreciate what that energy is. Because sometimes when we're like very entangled in the opposites, the opposition, the contrast, right? It can feel like push and pull and tug of war, and we can't relate to one another in that energy because it is so different, right? It is so just unfamiliar. And within that, we have like choices just to see things sometimes in black and white or gray, just to understand the energy more. And these I'm going to talk about in a way as archetypes, because archetypes are a great way to translate energy when you're learning to develop yourself as a psychic, a medium, a reader with cards, a reader of different modalities, or just even if you are just communicating with the spirit world, you need to understand contrasts. You need to understand the differences of energy, because in the purest forms, you're going to know your yeses and nos. Think about it. Yes and no are some of the most, stark contrasts, not always, but some of the most stark contrasts. Is this correct? Is this incorrect? Is this a yes? Is this a no? And if you can understand those opposites, you're a far ahead of the game, because there's an energetic quality to them. Okay. There's a knowing to what something is and the boundaries of what something is. And it's easier to understand when you get into the opposites. So in numerology, so I'll give some examples. One of the examples are the vibration of 3 and 7. They are opposite energies. In what way, do you might ask? Well, 3 is the energy of a communication. It's very extroverted. It wants to communicate. It wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It has something to say. In fact, it's really entertaining. So it wants to draw a crowd. And the better it is, the more entertaining it is, and the more people come, right? So it's that kind of energy. And then 7, the opposite, is quiet energy. It's observational. It's pure listening, honestly, on some levels. So you have to be very quiet to be a good listener. You have to be very patient and receptive to be a good receiver. So it is the vibration of truth, because you have to be very quiet to listen to what's really real, right? But So you're not distracted. You need to be alone more often, usually in the vibration of 7. So you don't have too much going around and you can really focus in what's, important, what's real. So it's a very quiet vibration. It's a vibration of solitude. It's a vibration of stillness. Okay. It's in stark contrast with the 3. You need people. And in order to have your mission be in full glory, you need people. With 7, you do have, you do need people, sure. Yeah. But the majority of it will be with yourself to reach some of these beautiful heights of knowing and sensation. Okay. So sometimes when you see people with a lot of 7s in their chart, they're um very logical. They spend a lot of time in their head. If not logical, analytical. They like to peruse within the mind. They spend a lot of time in their mind. If you're with a 3 energy, they're going to be rather social people, rather in positive aspects or negative aspects. They're pushed and pulled by others because that's what how the life and energy breathes with 3. It's the social energy. And if you think about astrology, it deals with opposites too. Okay, think about these archetypes, and I'm sure in any modality, you're aware of the stark contrasts. Like Pisces and Virgo, that's like another classic contrast. And Pisces is just about, being in the flow. And it's kind of like sometimes anything goes, or sometimes it's like, I can't overthink this. I'm just, going to allow this to be. So it can be very fluid and it can be very watery, right? The flow, ultimate flow, but also can be very messy, right? Because anything goes and it can be chaotic. But then you have the flip side with the Virgo energy, and it's very to the point. Okay, it's very controlled. Even it's very cerebral. There's a lot of overthinking. There's a lot of overseeing. Again, it's that analytical, stark contrast, and they would actually people with a lot of Virgo in their charts sometimes have a hard time letting go or a hard time with their emotions initially. So the stark contrast, and you could just go on, like 2s and 5s are very different, right? So I won't go too much into it, but I'll give you one example. So like a 2, again, it needs another person to give, to love, to balance, to bring peace. It's 2 is the number of one and another. Okay. So again, you need something to function, to be at your greatest capacity. You need someone else. It's not just the journey of the self. Like 1, very easy to understand. The vibration of 1 is more so a journey of the self. 2, no, you need other people in play. 3, you need other people in play, right? So 2 and 5 are stark contrasts because 5 is the energy of freedom. Okay, within 5, you usually have other people involved in your energy. If you have a lot of 5 energy, that's usually a given, not always. But 5 needs to be free. It needs to be free and it needs to take off and it needs to be individual and it needs to not have any ties. It needs just that pure, it's like a horse that can't be broken, right? And 2, like think about like a mourning dove with 2, it mates for life. It wants companionship. It wants to nurture. It wants to you know, be personal. And for 5, that's very exclusive territory. Okay. So you can imagine if someone has a lot of 5s and then another person has a lot of 2s, it's like oil and water, especially when it gets to deep um, contacts, deep contacts with relationships, dating, or even very close friendships. It's the struggle for like, let me help you versus get away from me. It's as simple as that. But yeah, the archetypal contrasts. And again, we could talk about all day long, like Sagittarius versus Gemini. Um, or excuse me, I think it's Aries. I'm thinking about opposite signs. Anyway, you could talk about it all day long, like Scorpio versus Taurus. I mean, or Cancer versus Capricorn. Again, all these different contrasts in the way that they operate. And so, within your own life, if you are going one step at a time, so this is the contrast that I bring you. If you're going one step at a time, or you're just like kind of surrendering to the different colors of your life, just figure out what your needs are. And sometimes, if we don't know what our needs are, it's great to understand the opposite of where we've come from, or the opposite of what we don't want. And we can hone into more so what it is. Sometimes it's black and white, and sometimes it's gray. So if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know, I guess, your next step, you go, okay, what don't I want? Because I know I don't want to do that. And so do I want the opposite of that? Or do I want something more in the middle? And it's important to hone your emotions. It's important to hone your thoughts. It's important to hone your energy. It's the essence of that. Hone your spirit, because that's, again, what makes your energy magnetic and electric. And it pulls experiences to you. It pulls the manifestations to you. People talk about manifesting what they're looking to do. Well, you have to hone your energy. And if you're not sure, start to narrow it down in that way. It's a big helper. It's a big, big helper. And start to see the world, again, not in black and white, but initially to kind of give it some understanding. Maybe some of those archetypes do help. So, with that said, we are going to go into some readings. All right. So everyone pop down your numbers. Probably going to be taking some numerology readings today more so. I I gravitate certain days to psychic, I gravitate towards numerology. I'll take a couple of each, but it's just whatever I'm feeling when I pick. So we're going to go with Steve. And so I'm just making sure. I like how you're talking about 80 degrees in Ontario, Canada. That sounds actually really lovely. Um, okay. Then I'm going to do your numbers. I'm just sometimes I scroll down to make sure if anybody has said anything else with their numbers. Okay. So here we go. Yep. So attitude 6, personal day 7, life path 5, I believe. We'll double check the math. 7, 8. Yep. Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so Steve, you're an attitude 6. So when someone has an attitude 6, they really live life for family. It's really, really important to be of service. It's really important to be like a purposeful and fulfilling husband. So it makes sense, because I think you actually did pop down your wife's numbers. So sometimes, yeah, I can do that with chart comparison and all that, but usually I take one chart at a time, especially with a show like this. So I'm just focusing on you for a second. But the 6 is it's a family number. So paternal qualities come out, definitely maternal qualities come out, and it's the way that we nurture and give back. So since a large part of your personality wants to give, help, even guide, it's very important within your life that you are in those roles, where you can lift other people up or bring people together. So I do always, when I see that, I recommend, if you have a good relationship with your family, being more involved. I do recommend volunteering too, or getting, doesn't have to be all the time, but at least getting in something where you're giving back your time in a way where you understand and you fully embody this is important in life. Like, we should help others, we should protect others, we should make others' lives better. And sometimes we growing up, we don't have a lens of what that looks like. Growing up, like, our parents always don't show us how to be a part of the community. Growing up, our friends aren't always a part of the community, the people around us. Maybe we've never just how do I do this? How do I get started? But the thing is that people need help, and certain people have helper numbers, and certain people have very social numbers. Um, and again, this should not be anything that someone tells you to do. It should be something that you feel, and it's just a reminder of something inside of you. Okay. Your life path 5. So, again, we talked about freedom. Freedom is very important to you, and you're guided to do things on the whim, on the fly. So, this is great. It's just like it's like if you can just give a little or try or help, and then away you go. It's kind of like you're passing good deeds around. And it's just like someone might not even know it was you, right? Someone might not even know it's you. It's like whether you're paying for somebody's meal or for someone's like drink ahead of you, or you're surprising somebody and they have no idea where it came from. There's just nods to helping to make life more fulfilling, because I'm just aware of this 6, and I'm aware of how much good this energy that you have naturally within you can give back and restore a lot of that magic in life. Okay. So you're in a cycle of 4, and last year and this year really calls you to get out and to be a part of life in a way where you are pushing yourself and you're changing things. You're at like the rising peak within your life where it's calling you to change. So next year, within your numerology, you're in a 5. And so it is going to just make you change, whether it's change of location, change of job, whether it's moving. There's always a major change that ignites in a 5 year. So that's next year. So what happens is the energy like calls us to start changing. So it's not as rapid, and it's not so as like, whoa. Okay. So this year, I'm just kind of reminding you within that notion. If you have all these stirrings, and especially you would with a cycle 4, to change your house around, to rearrange furniture, to throw things out, even heck, get things out of the garage. There just needs to be a change of atmosphere, and you'll start itching for it. So, when I talked about volunteering and your 6 energy, it's like you have a lot of things that you're itching to do, and you have a personality that actually helps people very naturally. Why not use it for something good? And you don't have to figure it out. It's just like an adventure that will like kind of call you along the way. You don't have to have a plan for it. Just get out there, and I think it would actually be very surprising and inspiring. And that is what I'm saying. Okay. I hope, yeah, you understand that. Okay. And in your working medium, oh, I love it. I love it. You're a working medium. Well, in the case of you being a working medium, it is very important that you are studying much more this year. It's very important if even you can take classes this year. Sometimes we're, self-learned, self-taught, but there has to be more attention to learning new things this year and giving time to do that. 4 is the year of knowledge. So, and it's about expansion through knowledge. So it's very, very important that there is a heightened sense of absorbing information and having commitment to that. A cycle of 4, which you have also, is a slower time, and it allows you to absorb even more. Like, it's made, if you naturally do it already, you need to up it. That's the whole point. Every year there's different intensities. Like, certain years go really fast, certain years go slow. This is a slower year for you, and this is a year where you actually might feel a lot of frustration, especially if you're life path 5, because you're like, okay, I did the work. Now where's the results? Okay, I'm doing this. What's the next step? What's the next step? And it's like you need to really just expand and explore, but make sure that you are crystallizing, not just experiencing, not just on to the next. You really need to crystallize it. And in order to really have it come in and be reviewed multiple times, because spirit wants you to review things multiple times, not a little here, a little there, or more. They want you to crystallize it. So it's a lot of repetition, a lot of review. That's going to take time, but it actually will change your energy a lot in a way that isn't exactly always the most natural, but it's needed. Okay. So that's the message, Steve. And just be patient. Just be patient as that happens. Okay. So we're going to jump to Tina. Tina, she said, I'm reading her message. My message for today. Oh, she broke down her numbers already. That's beautiful. Um, okay. Um, So 8, and then correct. We got that 4. Hmm. 8 and 1974. So that is a 3. Why do I have an 882 with you? 1976. I wrote it down wrong. Yeah, that's a 4. Okay, great. I'm stuck and mentally drained due to her grandmother and sister-in-law passing away this week. Oh my goodness. And job transition. Just and decide another nonetheless unhappy. Um job transition. Okay. That I have no energy exercising my way back to where I like it. So I just there's a lot of things that are changing within her life. Got it. Got it. Okay, so I'm going to look into that energy and see what is going on. And then you gave me your 6. Yes, your cycle. Yes, thank you. Um I mean, it is a year of reconfiguring a lot of your emotional self in regards to how family influences how you feel. So when we are in a cycle of 6, we do feel like we're tugged in all these different places, and it's very uncomfortable. And there's a purpose. It's like, why would we be in a situation where, we're tugged and we feel depressed and anxious and miserable and all this stuff's happening? What's the point of that? Well, the point of it is that, we have to have peace and calmness and stillness. But again, so we talked about opposites and archetypes. Well, 6 is like, it's going to shake you up emotionally, where you have to really be responsible for being a leader of your own self in regards to how you acted or processed or identified as prior. And these are in like group relationships that are very, very close to your soul. So you mentioned, your grandmother and sister in law. Those are fundamental, foundations of how you live your life, your connection to them, and how you act around them, and how you've learned to be around them, and them you. It completely usurps that. It invites you to take a mental catalog, and you go, what kind of person do I want to be? And sometimes not everyone gets to choose what kind of person they want to be, because they're raised in an environment where they're told what person they're going to be, or they're raised in an environment where they have to be a certain type of person, and that's how things go well, or they survive, or that's how everyone else acts. And when you get into these 6 cycles, it really is a chance to flip that on its head, whether it comes from devastating means or positive means. And it is a vibration that's very closely linked to creating chaos in the body because there's so much emotional disruptance. So health is very, very important. And it's like we don't have to beat ourselves up. We just have to go, hey, what step can I do little by little? Where, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do it sometimes, but eventually I'm going to find a way because it's important to me. As long as you make it important to you and you say, I'm loving myself and this is important, a way will open. It will. And it doesn't have to be, so continuous, so every day until it builds more momentum. Be kind with how you build your momentum. When we have passings, our momentum really gets messed up. When we lose friends, when we lose family, our momentum gets halted to a stop. And we have to be really kind with ourselves, what we're able to do at that time. Um, we're not supposed to be moving, moving, moving. Sometimes, um, movement can be therapeutic, don't get me wrong, but we need to kind of go, whoa, let me just gather myself together. And it takes stillness to gather ourselves together. It takes movement to shake things off. So if you feel like things are too heavy and overwhelming, it is good to stretch or go for a walk. Not because you're doing something and you're putting all this pressure on yourself. You're actually moving energy and you're taking pressure off of yourself because the emotional weight is so heavy that when we move our shoulders, through movement and walking, it actually breaks some of that stuff up. Like that's why exercise and taking care of our body actually so much influences our overall energy. And that's why it's talked about, um, not just on that body level. It's so intertwined. So I really that's what I'm giving to you, Tina. Just really don't put so much pressure on yourself at this time. This is a time where you're looking at yourself entirely different in life. And so again, the way that you care for yourself is going to be entirely different in life, and the way that you understand your emotions and the way that you process things and cope with things in turn are going to be entirely different. So it's okay. It's okay that, you need some time. Just take that validation of I'm giving time to myself. Think about it for a second. Like if there's anyone you like really respect or look up to, if they were going through something, you would say to them, take all the time that you need. And even if like you didn't completely understand what they're going through, if you had the slightest indication that they were having a hard day or a hard week and you really looked up to them, you really loved them, and you knew of their struggle, you'd be like, whoa, go easy on yourself. That makes sense that you need to do that. You're amazing. Take care of yourself. You know, we don't rush the people we look up to. We don't rush the people that we adore. We give them space and we cater to them. We cater to their needs. So treat yourself as, someone immensely valuable, immensely wealthy with what you have to offer others in life and yourself in life, and go, I'm worth it. Where I need some space, I need some pause, and I'm absolutely deserving to just give this to myself because I'm smart and I'm amazing, and I need a second so I can activate that, and I can't rush my awesome and amazing. You can't rush awesome and amazing. No one can work under those constraints. The greats can't work under that pressure. Amazingness takes a moment. It takes time. It takes proper conditions. It takes proper nourishment. It takes proper love, and you are all those things. So give yourself some grace within that and some healing. Okay. So absolutely, Tina. With that said, um, yeah. Just heads up, everybody. Sometimes people come in and ask for readings on the feed. So we have some people kind of reaching out and offering readings, and that's to your own discretion. But people try to scam people. Just heads up. Quick transition, but I'm just seeing that on the feed, and that happens a lot. That's why that's why you see all these accounts now where, they have verification checks, or, I would never DM you for a reading. That's why everybody's talking about that now. It's even on feeds like this. Okay. So let's see here. Hello to everybody. Oh, Lori says, my son is a triple Virgo. I think that's when we're talking about Virgo energy. Yeah. So when you say triple Virgo, do you mean like rising moon and sun? So that's usually what it's indicative of. And yeah, that means that they operate heavy with overthinking things, and they need proof. Like Virgos need proof. They're very like comparative. They're like, how does this stack up versus this? And they can have a lot of excellence within that because, they really have to wrap their mind around things, but they can also stop themselves in their tracks because they feel like, I don't want to take a risk. I'm not going to take a risk. I really got to figure out what I'm doing. I got to really know what I'm doing. And sometimes a lot of opportunities can n- nothing ever passes you by because your energy is going to attract what's important to you, but they can pass things up sometimes, or they can wait a little bit too long when actually it's a good fit because they want to review everything. My lovely phone went off. Usually it's turned off. All right. So I'm just looking then with Vanessa. I'm going to do your numbers. Okay. Cool. You're an attitude 2. You are a personal day 2. You are a life path 3. And a cycle of 9. Just double checking everything. Yep. Okay. So with Vanessa, um, you have that classic attitude to placements of making you a very sensitive individual. Okay. So a lot of times people hear me talking about these classic archetypes, and it's true. Like they apply for everyone who has this in varying degrees and in varying ways, depending on their other numbers and their names. So this is just a small slice of the pie, remember? But it always indicates somebody who's very sensitive with other people, and they kind of naturally will just have a gut instinct with other people that's more heightened at a younger age. Okay. So everyone has a gut instinct. Of course they do. But when you have an attitude too, you're well aware of it, like because you get overwhelming sensations of you really got to trust your gut because you'll just know things like that person's lying, or don't do that, or that feels off. Like your nervous system just gets lit up. So you're like kind of forced to be this way, right? Like 2 is a very sensitive number when dealing with other people, and so your mind naturally from a younger age just can size others up accordingly and needs breaks accordingly too, because since your mind works that way, it links up. And so if you're out and about, like we talked about threes, if you're out and about, you're functioning off other people's energy, right? And so you can just naturally flow and be social. But if you have a 2, you're naturally functioning off other people's energy. So you're going to be feeling, you're going to be absorbing, you're going to be experiencing. And it's on a level that's very subconscious unless there is energy understanding. So you can get drained, like that old adage, like, a mall can drain, an introvert, something like that. Well, since naturally energy is so much absorbed, yes, you will have the tendency to get drained. So you just have to have higher health self care and know that. There's like this gentle energy that comes off of you when people first meet you too. So they have a tendency to naturally open up to you. You don't always make yourself as accessible, but people naturally kind of will default to that with you. You're a life path 3 as well. So it's very important that you are using your voice in a way where you can share ideas, inspire, and be talking. You have to be talking with your job. It's a must because your voice is magic and your voice will take you places to where you need to go to further your success. Um, Now, life path 3, the job that you take demands you to be seen, whether it's in groups or whether it's larger than, a small group, for instance, where you are working with multiple people at multiple times in multiple scenarios. But it's always about being seen and heard. In order for you to be happy and fulfilled, you have to be seen and heard. So I always tell people, like, you have to be training groups, you have to be talking to groups, you have to be speaking, you know, you have to be sharing your knowledge, whether it's your own knowledge or other things that you have learned, and you pass it along. It's key. You're in a cycle of 9, and anytime someone's in a cycle of 9, I'm scrolling down for a second. Da-da-da-da-da. See. Oh, she has a question too. Um, a cycle of 9, just heads up, it is a more difficult year because you will find yourself like changing away, but you won't have time to necessarily keep up with the changes. So you'll be almost like in this more creative state, and you'll be in this more aware state, but you're going to be kind of pushed and pulled by other people, like, hey, can you help me? Hey, can we do this? And you won't quite have time for yourself. So just journal and be aware and take notes, because all that awareness needs to be cycled into at times when you can activate it this year and into next year. And it is a time where, themes of family are a little bit more heavy, and letting go of the past definitely comes up, and you have to resurface and process things. But the beautiful thing is, it's easier to do that this year. It's just, yeah, you're going to have a lot of full circle moments. Your question was, I keep seeing the number 666. That scares me because I've been meditating and opening myself to the spirit world. Not sure if I'm being silly. I am really sensitive and sometimes it hurts. I can't go to concerts or large crowds, but on thank you. Yeah, because the sensation is just going to be overwhelming. Thank you for understanding that. All numbers are neutral. They have certain meanings attached to them vibrationally, and also what people give them. It's like we have numbers that are important to us, or they represent to us because we give them a meaning, and society has given numbers certain meanings, and sometimes it's because vibrationally it elicits a certain feeling, and other times it's, you know just a milked down version or a diluted version of that vibration. And so anytime you get into things that deal with a lot of fear, you kind of have to go, well, where did this come from? Like, everyone's afraid of something, and there's dark themes within life. Life is light and dark, but really, is the actual vibration dark? Is the actual vibration full of fear? And for the numbers, they're really not. They can elicit certain feelings, but they're not. And so when you have like sixes, 6 is the number of service. It's the number of, a lot of times, wanting to be responsible, wanting to go above and beyond. So when you have a triple six, you're going to be having a vibration of 9. So you're having a 6 and 9 with your triple six. And so it increases the desire to be of service. It almost makes sometimes the service fanatical, of how you want to go and beyond and help. And when you have all those sixes together, it can be like controlling energy. Like, I want to control the situation. I want to help so much and change the world so much that there's only one right way, or there's only, you know, it can be only like this, or it has to be like this in order for it to be right, or we have to have these people, and or we have to protect people because they don't know what they're in for. And if you think about it, with what kind of 666 represents, it's about a fallen angel who thinks that they know better, right? And wants to control the situation and take away free will, right? So there's overlaying meanings to this, right? And when you have someone with a lot of sixes in their charts, they want to go above and beyond, and they want to protect, and they want to serve. That's what they do. And so there's an archetype within that when someone has too much six energy, where it's boss energy. It can be very powerful. It can be very magnetic. Six is a people person, and people will gravitate around the six energy. It feels warm. It feels very nurturing, because the six just wants to give and do. So it has all this energy that it's giving to others, and people go, "Oh, this is what I need," or "This feels nice." So yeah, six can be very magnetic in its energy. But yeah, to think about like, hey, like, what is the purpose of what you want to do? And why do you think, or why do you feel so called and protective to it? Put your protection in something higher than yourself, and it will take care of that for you. Just do the service. That's what it's all about. Okay. It's kind of fun to talk about that one because a lot of people, the symbol itself of the triple six is doesn't always feel so great. I'm going to say it because of the connotations that we have with it in society, and sometimes people do use it for fear or more heavy based reasons. So yeah, it's kind of like a dismal one at times, but actually, it's just people are fanatical with what they want to do within life, and they're unbridled with it. Okay, so let's take a. Do I have a message down? I think I didn't read something. Um, we got more people coming in, kind of trolling with the asking for readings. So, just heads up with that. Usually don't really say anything, but it's kind of thick today, so it's all right. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. I really, really appreciate it. When you just kind of distill things down to the energy, we kind of take our own thoughts out of it, right? At least I try. We'll always we're human, but makes things a little clearer. Okay. I'm scrolling back up. Oh, cool. So, Lori Downs, she's a 911 too, but different year. So this is cool. When someone has the same birth date as you, like maybe a different year, there is going to be a very similar personality present. Again, you would have vastly different numbers because of your name and other parts of your chart, but you're going to have a similarity with how you talk and a similarity in your personality. Okay. So your interests could be vastly different. You're going to dress and act actually pretty different, but you could actually communicate like very naturally, and you'd have a natural affinity for one another. And there are some tendencies that are the same. So, um, a general understanding that is the same. So that's why I always like to see some similar birth dates. Okay. So let's get your attitude. So it's a 6. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I opened the door today. I'm sorry for being distracted. I opened the door today. Oh my goodness. What is my cat doing right now? Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't normally get this distracted. I open the door because it's a quiet day, and I don't happen to not have people in the house today, and my cat decided to come in, and he's the sweetest boy ever, but he's a bit destructive, and he decided to sit on one of my jackets, and he's clawing into it right now. Buddy, please do not do that. Please, I do not want to get up. I should always close the door. That's the lesson here. It's like, buddy, I'm in the middle of a show. Just please don't claw one of my suit jackets. Good lord. And I think he heard me. So I'll just have the angels and spirit and God protect that situation. I'm giving it away, right? I'm giving that situation away because wow, that's one of my cats for you. Okay, so back to with Lori and attitude two. And we were getting your life path. Okay, so you're going to be a life path 8, and you are going to be in a cycle of um 6. Is that correct? um See, my brain is like um no, you're gonna, yeah, you're in a cycle of 6. Okay, cool. Cool. Um, okay. So what I want to say is to no, you're in a cycle of 7. See, look, my darn brain. All right, I have to refocus. So you're in a cycle of 9. So it's similar to what we said before. Like you're Lori, you're in a time of there's a lot of things changing, but there are a lot of things changing for the better. The 9 is when we filter out all the stuff of the past and we get into a state where we feel stronger. We feel like things are more capable. It's like it's not super easy because the rug gets pulled out from under our feet during this time a bit, but we go, wow, I've never seen quite life in this perspective. And that could be positive or negative. It gives you a chance to put things to rest, and it makes things easier that have not been as easy with like healing or reconciliations or dealing with family. It is an invitation to close a chapter, not because you need to get more invested in things. In fact, it's a time for forgiveness, and it's a time for healing, and it's a time for honestly allowing yourself to make sure that change is enacted. Okay. So just heads up within that. It is a busy year, and cycle 9s always are. The attitude too, we were talking about that it makes you very naturally sensitive. It makes you have to be a little bit more careful with your energy, with the places that you go and the people that you surround yourself with, because if you do not watch out for those things, you will always feel really dragged down, or you'll feel too hyped up. So you'll feel like a seesaw at times. Because you are very sensitive to how environments and people make you feel. You have a life path 8, um, and that's really indicative of that too, because an 8 sizes up situations, and they're very much aware of these peaks and valleys, and they assess situations accordingly. So they're very just natural with how they go, this is a better way. They're very natural with organizing information and going, you kind of want to do this and that if you want to get from A to B. Okay. And when someone has an 8, since they're able to size things up very well and they're able to just kind of organize information, because they're very observant and they're very sensitive within their body. So they just start observing, collecting information, right? Um, there's within their job, they have to be in some type of leadership role where they are giving back within their knowledge, or they're entrusted within their skills to get the job done. They're entrusted that they're able to do things in a way that is going to be of quality. If you do not have that within your life, if you do not have your own business, if you're not a manager, if you're not overseeing something, that will be a problem, because there's a natural anti-authority in anyone who has a life path 8. They make it their life's mission to do things better. And so if you're doing things better, if you're more aware than your average person, you need to be in a capacity where you guide other people to excellence. And if that's not happening, there will always be some type of frustration if you're not doing it yourself or if you're not calling the shots to help others. And I really, really want to give you that. So your sensitivities make you a dynamic leader. Step into that role. Okay. And Lori's talking about bubble up, bubble up. Um, yeah. So it's like whether it is, I want to highlight that, Lori. Whether it's around family, again, you have to handle it a little differently around family. But like if there's a family project where someone has to lead or head, or if there's something that needs to be done where you can oversee something to make things better for people, like just to make sure that you assert yourself in a leadership role and to really be comfortable with the fact that people won't always understand you, but to let people know I'm here to help. You may not understand my passion at first, and you might not understand the way that I sometimes come in, but I'm always here to make things better, and I have a lot of energy, to make things better. So I can help take that stress off, and let's do this together. But it's really important that you show up and that you are leading most things, and to have people kind of understand you and to be okay with if people don't understand you, and you'll just continue to get better about how that goes um but don't shy away. And so I think you understand that. Okay. Thank you, Lori. Okay, let's pull some cards because cards are fun. Um hmm, Jennifer. Okay, I'm gonna just take your numbers for 2 seconds because it's fun and then pull cards. So you're a 7-1, you're 7-1-6, and oh, you're at 8-1-7. See, that's why I double check. I read it as June, but it's actually July. So you're a 8-1. Um, yeah, you're an 8-1-7. Yep, that's right. Okay. So that makes you in a cycle of 6. We got another 6 in the house. Okay, lots of 6s today. Lots of 2s and 6s. All right, Jennifer. What comes up? Okay, that's always fun. So I got a time for a new hobby card. I love the card. It's very light, it's very fresh, it's very encouraging. It encourages a venture, but encourages an adventure where you are growing something that you can go, life can be like this. It's I'm not just like in the moment. I'm in the moment, but I'm learning and, growing myself as a person, and I get to share these things with people and show people what I can do. And I get to call in people who are more like me to be around me because I have made space for this in my life. So it's about not just exploring, but changing your everyday life with how you understand what life can be like. Don't do the same old, same old. Life is meant where you're supposed to grow, and not in the typical ways that you normally grow. So I do feel like you're a person that is always growing, but it's just like life is not made to always be growing in our interests, our pure interests. We kind of should be well rounded. Go try something out. Has to be what you like, but explore and get some new skills. Um, and also it's letting me know that it is very important because there has been a lot of stress and strain emotionally, like things have been like breaking and letting go, and so it is a calling for you to step out and just fill some of those empty places, if you can understand that. Okay. And the mystery of life and the way that it unravels will give you answers if you just kind of put more new things in. You've lost some things, now it's time to build some new things, and it shouldn't be on the foundation of the same. And so that is what I'm getting. Um, and I'm going to pull one quick one for, I think someone gave me their numbers up. Tracy. Yeah, I'm gonna pull in for Tracy. Tracy like came in early and I wanted to pull something for her. Um Tracy. Okay. So Tracy, cool. I'm getting the call to develop your mediumship. It's either develop your mediumship or it's developing your spiritual skills. It could be even your healing, but it's about developing yourself on a level where you are committed to understanding that your circumstances and what you're going through is very much beyond just you as Tracy, and to start to experience that on a different level where you can trust that notion. So developing other parts of yourself that have nothing to do with your physical reality, starting to understand what you're truly capable of and your power. Um, I do feel like you have a personality that pushes yourself a little bit too much. So again, like go at your own pace, and if things are feeling wonky and you find yourself being overwhelmed, you just know that like that's a sign for restoration and pause and healing, um and go back to it. I think like it's just a matter of self-love and patience, and knowing again that whatever you're doing, good or bad, there's a reason beyond that, and going to that reason again. It's a lot of the energy of going beyond the initial reaction, going beyond the initial um, feeling that you have for yourself, going beyond um, what you feel like is just in front of you. It's inviting you to go through the door and expand your complete reality, really. And I feel like you have a lot of power and flexibility within this. So it's a very exciting time. But initially, it's just about making those steps to allow that magic to happen. Because again, I just feel like there's a lot waiting for you. You have a lot of um, new revelations and new horizons to experience this year. Just make sure that you are just remembering to go to something beyond yourself, beyond others, beyond the situation. And I will give you that. So, Lori, really quick, you said, and I'm not in a leadership role. Correct. That I can understand that, but you need to get into one. That's what I'm saying. You need to get into one. You need to apply for things where you have that, or you need to go somewhere else where you have that, because unless you have the only thing I'm going to highlight, Lori, is if you have a lot of autonomy where people let you do whatever you want so you can carry it out in your way, and you have leadership of the way that you do things within your job, even though, let's say, you're not working with people directly within that leadership. If you have a leadership of the tasks that you're doing and will give you that freedom, that is okay. Okay, that is okay, and that would check my box. But if you do not have that and you're reporting to people and you feel stifled, job change, job change. Come on, we need it for you. You're able to make sure people do a better job. You're able to handle the details. You're able to increase what things can be around you. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to others to make things better within the world and in your environment. You have all the skills. Step into it. That's what I'm saying. So okay, everybody. It was an awesome Friday. I hope you're enjoying the summer. The sun is blazing. I really do feel it. And maybe I'll go out for a walk with some of the cool, nice breeze of the wind. But I will see you next week. And with that said, I will see you Wednesday for another episode of the Psychic Hour. Please, in the meantime, go with love, laughter, light, luck, and don't forget to live, everybody. See you soon.
The truth is here and now on WLTKDB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.